Money with Friends. As you all know, every Wednesday we get here to you. We come to you to share some really great concepts about money, life, and everything else. And today I am so happy because we're going to be talking about a topic that's about joy. And in order for you to be able to talk about joy, you really have to have some joy in your life. And I have a lot of joy in my life tonight because I have two great friends with me. They've been on the show before, and you're going to get to hear from them. So the topic tonight is the art of joy, the art of joy. And I've been having conversation with my friends about that. And I just want to be sure that you know that we are here to encourage and to give you some strategic ideas on how to cultivate your joy. We are not here to judge, and also to if you are someone who is going through a tough time because you are clinically, meaning like you have some chemical imbalance that's causing you to have sadness in your life, you definitely want to go and get some professional help. We're not psychologists, we're not professionals in that area, so it's definitely important for you to go get the help from the right people. But however, if you are someone who is here tonight and you say, summer is here, and why don't I feel the joy that I need to have about this season? Or, my life altogether, I haven't been feeling much joy. We are here to let you know that there are things that you will be able to learn from us tonight or hear from us tonight that you could use to help you get to the joy that you deserve. Because we want you tonight to be moved enough to make some decisions that will help you get to the joy that you need to get. Because your light needs, you need to shine. And in order for you to shine, you have to have joy in your life. So, with that being said, I just want to welcome again my two guests. I have Miss Aisha and Miss Dawn on the online now. And why don't you, Aisha, uh, say hello and introduce yourself tonight?
So, I'm Aisha Rodriguez, and I actually work in the field of human services, social services. I've worked in this field for over 25 years and generally work with what we would call vulnerable families or families that struggle, also underrepresented families in the community. Born and raised right here in Boston.
Welcome, Aisha. Thank you for coming. And Dawn, Queen Dawn, please introduce yourself again for those who haven't seen you or heard from you.
Dawn Spirit. I'm the owner, proud owner of Queen Dawn Spirit. I'm a past life regression therapist, future life regression therapist. I'm a Reiki master teacher, an officiant, cardiologist, and spiritualist. I'm not from Boston. I'm a transplant, and I believe in treating others as I want to be treated, and so I feel so honored to be a part of your platform, Queens. So let's make this thing happen.
Yes, we are. I always say Dawn has so much joy, and in talking to Aisha, I know she's the one. Aisha actually is the one who told me about. She said, "Gabrielle, let's have this, this topic tonight." She came up with the topic. That was her topic, and this is her topic. And I was like, that's a great topic. We should have that conversation. I know. Let's talk money. It's about money, and sometimes we said, money can answer all things, but money will not buy you joy if you don't have joy in your life. So, Aisha, since this is your topic, why don't you let the audience, those who are watching tonight, know why is it important to have joy in your life? Why is it important for them to have joy in their lives?
Well, from my perspective, and the reason that I felt this topic was interesting, especially now with everything going on in the world and everything that's been going on in the world, it can be quite stressful. And I think often we're looking to kind of attain or achieve a certain level of success, in life. And obviously that comes with some type of a monetary, you know, um, calculation. Like we all know that we would wish we could make this much money or we wish we could have this much money. But ultimately, how can we can be rich in other ways while we're on the journey of trying to achieve the success that feels good to us, right? And true success is really accomplishing things that are meaningful to you. So if you're accomplishing things, but you're accomplishing things that are kind of like, I felt like I always had to do this, or I feel like I need to stay in this profession because of X, Y, and Z, but it really doesn't have any value to me. It really doesn't hold any meaning for me personally. I would rather be doing something along these lines. Then you're not experiencing that sense of richness in your life. It's about what we can experience and how we feel, how we connect with the experiences, the people, and the places in our life in meaningful ways that truly give us value. And that's something money can't buy. Like they always say, there are some things that money can buy, and there are some things that are just priceless. And how you feel about the experiences in your life are one of those things. So that's what I thought would be important to kind of, and fun, to Dawn's point of let's have fun with it, to, have fun talking about and having people think about ways that they can make their life richer.
Yeah, I like that, making your life richer, and also, and not, like you said, not just with money or material goods, but richer in so many different ways. I saw a quote online, and I think I posted it on on the group here, and it was, "If you're not doing what you love, you are wasting your time." Do you agree with that, Dawn? Why is it important for us to have joy in our lives?
Yes, exactly. Like, so they say, what is your dream job? I don't dream of labor. So
Mm,
if you focus someone doing what you truly love, the money will come because it all starts from within in here. And I teach people how to manifest their true intentions, what you really want to manifest during your subconscious hours. And if we would not be mind controlled by society, thinking that we're less than and we're not good enough, or we don't deserve, then that's what we're always going to attract. But if you believe in yourself and you love yourself first, then everything else will fall in place because you won't attract those energies that are not deserving of you.
yeah, definitely. So you have to first love yourself in order for you to, the good book talks about
Love.
loving others as you love yourself. The
Oh yeah.
implication is that you first love yourself. You gotta love yourself. I know I've heard, and we talked about it, Aisha, where folks said, you know what, I'll get happy. I'll get happy. I'll have joy when I'm here. When I finish with college, when I get married, when I have 2.5 kids and a white picket fence, no, the white picket fences, and they have timeline or a time when they feel like they'll be in the right place to have joy. Why do you think that's a mistake, and why we should never wait until we are in that quote unquote right place to start having joy in our lives?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think a lot of it has to do with conditioning, culturally. i- In many cultures, or through many cultures, we have been conditioned that, us back to the definitions of success. So I'll feel happy when I lose the weight. I'll feel happy when I, like you said, get married, or when I'm, able to finish this program that I'm not even interested in, but I'm doing it because I feel like it will make me a success, and then I'll be happy. But ultimately, what we don't do is, and I think Don was also talking about this just now, feed our spirits. Like, how are we feeding our own feeling, what we need to feel? And we know what that is, because if you really look at it, what are the things that make you, they're without, it brings no words to your mind. You feel it, like the stuff you feel on your skin, right? When you feel happy or that joy, and you just feel it in your body, and you feel it, and you actually don't necessarily have words for it. You just feel it. It could be something as simple as walking somewhere with your kids in a nice space and watching them in that moment, and that feeling comes over you. Or it could be being by yourself and, having some type of an experience. I mean, it literally could be anything. It's kind of hard to put an example on it because it really is so individualized for every person. But I think what people need to begin doing, or could begin doing, is really begin tracking what is it that actually brings me those moments of feeling of joy, or feeling of satisfaction, or feelings of fullness. A lot of times we don't pay attention to that, but we'll go on and on and on about the things that bring us pain, or hurt, or dissatisfaction, right? But we really don't put enough time into what brings us that that special feeling, that good feeling. And then how do we recreate that? So if you know what's giving you that feeling and you can pay attention to it, and you might be giving yourself that feeling by doing certain things, how can you recreate that? If people are helping to, certain people are in your life that can help bring that feeling about with the experiences you have with them, then how can you connect more in those kind of ways? If it's certain things, it could be places, it could be activities, it could be things you even watch on television. How are we continually generating a sense of good feeling, joy within? I think is important. And so I don't know that it's as important as to why we want to wait as much as it is why we should stop waiting, right? And just take the moment and the opportunity to begin cultivating those experiences in very intentional ways in our life. And then they become automatic because Dawn said earlier, you know, kind of how you feel and what you can usher into your life. Some of the things you don't even want just because you're almost calling them to yourself by not embracing you and the truth of you. And so, how are we helping to find that through how we feel about ourselves and how we experience ourselves in positive ways?
Correct. Yeah, it's so true. I've heard it said, and you probably have heard it too. This is not a rehearsal. You only get one chance. Other people have different beliefs, but I think today, this century here, in 2021, I only have one chance. So it is my job to get up every morning to say, how can I be my best? And how can I find my joy in the situations that are happening to me every day? So we talked about, in terms of how do you cultivate joy? And you've given like some specific lists of how you can go ahead and be very systemic or calculating about how to cultivate joy. But we know it's not easy, right, Dawn? Because
Yeah.
sometimes in life, things will happen to you. And I know for your own family, you've experienced certain things this year, and other people in my community have experienced really some tragedies this week. So how do you cultivate and do those specific things to create joy in your life while you deal with some of the hardest things that you can imagine? A bad relationship, loss of a child, a sudden, loss of a family member. How do you do that and still have joy?
You have to stop and be still. Stop and be still. Because you're going to get so many energies coming your direction. And if people really knew what this spiritual realm was about, a lot of things they would not do or say. And you got to focus on the here and the now, not yesterday, because you can't change it, or not tomorrow. The here and the now. The energy starts here and now, what you put your attention to. And I always hear lately, especially the tragic that has happened in my family, um, I'm the sound board for family members to come and to vent to me and talk to me, and I'm sending them Reiki when they're talking to me, and not working on not attaching myself to the situation and removing myself from it personally, and actually hearing them so they don't drain me. And because sometimes that's home for people to be in that lower vibration, and you're not going to heal if you keep focusing on the path. You're on the past. You're not going to heal. But if you are willing to do the work and learn to love yourself first and just stop, like certain things that I used to pay attention to, I don't pay attention to it anymore because it's a distraction. That's why they put liquor stores in the hood on every corner. That's why they put lower grocery stores with a poor quality of food in certain communities to distract us. That's why the news is on first thing in the morning, in the afternoon, evening news, and late night news to distract us, to control us. So that's why we need to understand that money is energy. Everything is energy. So whatever you give attention to, it will grow. So if you think you broke, you're going to be broke. If you think you're prosperous, even if you got $2 in your bank account, still think that you're rich and you're seeing and manifesting that money growing. If you always say you're broke and you can't afford, you're never going to be able to afford. You're always going to be broke. Period. I'm a firm believer that I raised 3 children with no child support. None. Zero. Zilt. And all 3 of my children, because I love them so much, and if there's something that you truly love, focus on that when you're feeling down. Because we were put on this earth to heal and love one another, not to hate and fight one another. And what I did with my children, the love for my children helped me to raise them to be 3 successful adults. They all have their own families, their own houses, their own businesses, whatever they're doing their own thing. They're raising their children. And the only thing they ever ask from me is advice and understanding. You know,
So,
I want them to be able to succeed. We have to raise our children to the point that if we die today or tomorrow, are they going to be able to survive? We have to raise survivors in this world because this new generation is not playing. We cannot raise a bunch of victim people. Can't change the past, but we can focus on now. So
it's so yeah, I know you're very passionate about that, and I'm glad you are because I am too. I see what's going on the news, in my community or all around me, and I'm thinking, there are things that we can do. I know it's hard. There are gonna be challenges. We deal with systemic racism and so many other barriers that we've had to deal with for centuries and generations. But at the end of the day, you have to make a decision to believe. And that belief that you have is going to help us move closer to where we want to be. Right?
Can I jump in and say
Go ahead.
something really quick? Because I agree. And in the work that I do with the families I work with, we're really key on that also, Dawn, in terms of the focus piece. And it's not that you're being delusional, meaning anybody, meaning, we're not training people to be delusional and say, okay, you have $2 in the bank. Let's just pretend that your rent can still get paid with $2. What we're saying is we know that you're still going to you're still going to need to make a plan. You're still going to need to, find concrete support in times of needs from the, people around you who can support when you need it, or build that in yourself somehow, and therefore, being able to make plans. But take moments to just be proud of that $2. I mean, that's an extreme example, but it's a good one, right? Yes. Be proud of that. Think about what you did to get that, and the fact that you were able to save it, and the fact that you have it. And that does generate a sense of positive energy, not just around you, but inside of you. Yeah. I think one of the reasons we also struggle, I know for myself personally, I struggled in finding my happy place because I grew up in a very religious family that became more increasingly religious over time. And so the things that actually gave me joy were things related more to, so we were like more Pentecostal Christians, and it gave me more joy, when I listened to kind of like, Buddhist chants and, thinking about like yoga and mantras and, those things actually naturally appealed to my spirit. Yes. And you know what I mean? And other things that were considered taboo, you know what I mean? And that sort of thing. And so I pushed that away for a long time because I wanted to honor my own religious background, and, it felt wrong and you would be told it was wrong. But ultimately, in my times of true trauma, those kinds of things and really jumping into and delving into that would have helped heal my spirit, I think, in ways that could have mitigated the length of the time of the trauma I went through, because it would have helped me be stronger. And when I did finally just say, forget it, and that comes with age too, because after a while, you're just like, bump it. I don't care what you think. I'm 50 now. Right. I figure it out myself. I got, a window here, right? Before, from now to the end. And so I need to be able to really maximize what I need from my life. I think honestly, if people are very mindful, back to people being mindful about what it is that actually brings them a sense of fullness and joy and richness and, a sense of personal wealth and feeling special. And if you really, maybe even journaling, if you really just take, you don't have to write books, but just taking some time to make note of, to pay
Mm-hmm.
attention to what worked for me today in terms of how it made me feel,
Right.
not just what happened, what I thought about it, because we trick ourselves with our thoughts all the time. You know what I mean? We can talk ourselves into and out of anything, but how does that look in terms of how I felt, and what gave me feelings, also what gave me feelings that were toxic or poisonous, things that made me feel down or low,
Mm-hmm.
and really begin creating something that helps us look at the patterns of what we go through in terms of our emotions day to day. And I think that that helps people create a plan in terms of how to better their life or move closer to what they want and away from what they don't want.
I like the idea of creating a plan.
I'm going to say something real quick, Gabrielle,
Go
because
ahead.
if I don't say, I'm going to forget it real quick.
Go ahead.
When I talk to my clients, because I do spiritual counseling, and they say that bills are bothering them, I tell them to make a list of their bills they need to pay. Right? Dear God, or my ancestors, I need help with XYZ. Thank you. Don't say I need help. Thank you for paying these bills, and you list them. And list them a little higher than what you normally expect that needs to be paid that bill. And I guarantee you within 7 days, God will manifest that for you. You got to put it out to the universe, which is God. So that's what I
Oh,
do, and it always works for them.
yeah, I believe that too, Don. And I also believe that you have to the plan. We've been talking about it since the beginning. There's power in the written
You're
word.
muted,
When you
Gabrielle. Okay.
can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You went out for a second.
Yeah, I'm saying like there's power in the written word. When you write it down, you can make it. It will come to pass. And also
Mm-hmm.
to the idea. I remember when we were talking, Aisha, you said that how are you managing your resources? What do you have in your hands? Many times we don't know how to assess that properly. So when you come out of your comfort zone, do you want to talk a little bit more about that, Aisha? When we're talking, you say how are you managing the resources that you have, the things, the people, and the things that you already have in your own hands. Because many times the lack of joy comes from the fact that we're not assessing what we already have and the potential that we already have.
Yeah. I think it goes back to, once again, that kind of mindful approach and being intentional. Um, so often we run away from the problems in some sort of way or fashion. I know, not sure, one of you mentioned, I think it was Dawn, the liquor stores and, just there's so many distractions. I mean, it could be simply as binge watching TV, which, binge watching once in a while is nothing wrong with that. Sorry for that background. But kind of anything that becomes excessive does become a challenge. And so how are we becoming mindful about what it is that our situation is, whether that's financially, relationship wise, whatever it is that seems to be either functioning or not functioning. And then how do we grow it from there or eliminate it if it needs to be eliminated? And in order to do that, you really do have to take a mindful approach. You have to assess your situation. And then you have to ask yourself, what resources do I need to support this? So if I'm in a failing marriage, do I need counseling? That's a resource. And that counseling doesn't have to be a professional therapist. It could be, someone at church. It could be, someone that's a confidant and that you both trust, that could sit and just kind of be a person that listens to both of you. But how are you bringing in resources to support? And this is some of the ways in which we manage it versus continuing to let it build and build and build until it just topples on top of us and we're under it, and then we don't know how to get out, and then that creates more problems to run away from, or we're creating problems to run away from problems but creating more problems. I think one of the ways that a person can be rich is by having a multitude of resources. And I said this in the last show I was on. We live in a resource rich city. You know, this city is so, so bombarded with resources. They're like begging people to take some of the resources that are available on all across all levels when it comes to food, when it comes to, housing resources, and that sort of thing. And it doesn't mean it's easy and you always get it very easy, but it does mean that it's worth it to understand how to navigate systems and build your networks and your allied support so that you can reach out and say, okay, I have a need and I need someone who can be a concrete support to me in this time of need. But in order to do that, you have to assess what your needs are, but you have to also assess your sense of personal value. Sometimes we don't reach out for help because we actually don't feel like we deserve it. You know what I mean? We actually feel like we deserve to be where we're at. And so we never try to do any better or any higher. And so, how are you kind of doing a personal assessment on what it is you want and where it is you're at, plus what is it you truly believe you deserve? Do you know how many times people want to, let's go back to money, make more money, or let's say write a book, but they feel like they're afraid of the success of what if my book is, that literally intimidates them to backing off. And in some ways it may happen with all of us. And those are things we have to assess in ourselves. What is it the success that I seek? These are conversations that we have to have repeatedly with ourselves. What is it that I seek? You know, what could be preventing me from getting there? What resources do I need to get there? And in terms of what's preventing me, if those things are from within myself, I need to assess that and be realistic with it. You know?
Yeah, that self-assessment, it's so important every single day. Going back to what do you believe? What do you believe? Because the world around you will tell you what they believe you are, what they believe you ought to be. But what do you believe? It's so important. And how do you cultivate that belief? That belief system is by feeding yourself, right? So we always talk about it, Dawn, like how important it is to feed yourself positivity. How important if you're a person of faith, like I am a believer, I'm a Christian, so I read the Bible because I feel like there's a lot of truth for me, for my personal life in that book. So and also we were talking about it offline, Dawn. I said, you know what? I have a AAA just in case my car breaks down, right? I have a plan, right? Someone that I can call, a professional, to help me out immediately. And you just mentioned it, having resources, having a team, a village to help you in life. So, what are some specific, I know we're running out of time, but what are some specific plans that you take, someone who's trying to become happier or who's in a very funky place right now, who's trying to get out of that funk and they would like to cultivate some joy. I know we've talked about it, but can you think of just like your
First thing,
AAA card?
right? The first thing, it goes right back to just like Aisha was saying, self love. Self love. When you have self love, you will not allow lower vibrational energy people to drain you. There are some people that will come into your life that will stagnate you because their energy is not where it should be because they need healing. So you have to remove yourself from certain situations. That I was in a relationship one time for 7 years in a stagnant relationship. I was making 200,000-300,000 a year.
Hmm.
But because that person who I was making that money, instead of us building an empire together, they were draining me.
Hmm.
And to the point where I was just mainly paying all the bills. So you have to get in a relationship. If the relationship is not conducive or if not does not resonate with you and helping you elevate, if you're every year your relationship with friends and intimate partners should always elevate every year.
Every
I know
year.
some people have been in relationships for 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years and it hasn't moved, hasn't even budged. So if you're not progressing in that relationship, regardless who it's with, you need to release it and remove yourself from the situation. Because it's not about just you or me. If you're in a really good relationship, it's about how we can build an empire together. Okay, not seeing how much you can take from someone, or someone taking from you. It should be a, it should be back and forth like a
Really
love thing.
beneficial.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And I
love
think
that
it
idea.
really, sorry, I
Go
think it
ahead.
really goes back to, here we go again with that self-love piece. I'm in full agreement with that, Dawn.
Hmm.
Understanding yourself and what your needs are. And sometimes that means unlearning. Like for me, I had to unlearn religion to embrace spirituality. That doesn't mean religion is wrong. And that doesn't mean Pentecostal Christianity is wrong. For some people, that's right. But I always say the road to salvation, that here we go again with, we say that narrow road, we think of it as just one road to no, it's narrow because it's your personal road. It's your personal road to your personal salvation, which only you know and only you can find. And everybody is on their own road to that. And
Right.
you have to ask yourself, what is it I need? And I do believe, like I said, a lot of that comes through what we feel, our emotions, in terms of that feeling of joy, that feeling of fullness. That tells us what we need more of in our life. And you have to really look for those times when you're feeling that, because that's going to help create your roadmap in terms of how to get to that next point. What's making you feel full? What's making you feel rich? You know, that's what you want to follow. And slowly but surely, the other things will fall off, because back to focus, right? Your intention will be focused on what's making you feel good, special, joy, rich, love, you know? But it's hard because in this day and age, there's so many other things to focus on, you
Yeah,
know?
But
so
you have to be careful.
that's what.
I don't mean to cut you off, but the
Go
most
ahead.
powerful, the most powerful, strongest muscle in your body is that pink thing in your mouth, your tongue, because you speak out vibrations and they come back. Like energy attracts like energy. If I was to put you, me, my tablet, this house under a high power microscope, you would see 99% space. We're just living a physical experience. This is a spiritual realm. Whether you're religious or not, or spiritual or science, whatever it is, you this is a spiritual world, and we're having a physical experience.
It's so true. And the reason why, when you had introduced, like, started talking to me about the feeling rich and that the art of joy, and I was like, this is something really we need to talk about on the show as well, because you go out, you about, and you meeting people on the streets, and they don't have joy in their lives, and they're quick to cut you off. They're quick to cuss you off. They're quick to do so many things. And there's nothing like having an experience with someone that was so meaningful and so joyous. You meet someone on the, like, recently I went to do my braids and stuff, and the lady who was doing my hair, she's like, as I was leaving, she was like, Gabrielle, thank you so much. That was such a great experience, because we got into talking about so many positive things. And I felt like, even as she was doing my hair, we were sharing life, we were sharing experiences together. So I think it's so important. And when you cultivate joy in your life, folks are drawn to you. Like, I'm drawn to Dawn all the time. Aisha was introduced to me by someone, and I'm like, I pick up the phone and call her, because I'm drawn to women who are positive women, women who have joy in their lives. So I would encourage you today, if you're struggling with that, because when you have joy, not only you see positivity and greatness for your life, but you see it for your neighbors, you see it for your friends, you see it for your coworkers, you see it for everyone. And that spirit of jealousy, that spirit of hate, that spirit of whatever those negative spirits that people are cultivating nowadays, you will not have that in your life if you decided that joy will be my centerpiece. For me, I say it all the time, the joy of the Lord is my strength. Every single day I wake up with that strength and with that joy. And my number one job is to share with other people. Does that mean I don't fall short? I sometimes, I lose my temper, or I'll do something that's out of character, but I'll bring it back, because of the fact that I know my ultimate goal is to bring joy and to share joy and to have joy in my life. So That's the reason why we wanted to have this conversation. Would you say, Aisha, to encourage and let others who are watching tonight and
Absolutely.
or beyond to know that there is power in joy and there's an art, the art of joy. You can build that for yourself. You can have
There's the
that.
art to there's the art of joy, and you're the painter. You have the brush. Nobody can define what your sense of joy and fullness of life looks like, and nobody should. It is truly your personal responsibility to yourself to create that in your life. It really is. And I think that any conversation that really perpetuates talk about joy and feeling good, and especially in this day and age with everything going on, is a good one. I know I'm leaving this session with you ladies feeling that much more motivated, positive, inspired.
Yes. What about you, Dawn? Are you feeling excited?
Yeah, same here, Queen. And when I learned, like, when my family member was my family member transitioned because of someone's jealousy and bullying, being bullied. If those people that hurt him really loved themselves, they wouldn't have time to bully him or bully anyone. When you really love yourself, you don't have time to create havoc in other people's lives. You don't have time to hurt other people. You don't even be thinking about that because you're too busy being happy and loving yourself and living your best life and living in the experience, because you chose. We all chose to come here. We picked our parents. I learned that in in my sessions as a past life regression therapist, we pick our parents. I've done sessions where one young lady found out her husband. She was in Cuba in the Castro Revolution. Her husband was taken away and was killed, and in this life came back as her grandfather. We chose to come here, and our mission is to find out why we came here. You're a healer. You're a healer. We're all healers. But we lose focus of that. So this world is an amnesia world, and it's our purpose to find out why we chose to come here, what we need to heal, what relationships from the past lives that we didn't heal, we got another chance to heal it now. If we don't heal it now, God gonna bring us back to those same people. It's just in a different avatar, a different form, a different person. It could be your sibling instead of your husband the next life. So if you don't get it right this time, you're gonna have to come back and do it again.
And I think whatever your beliefs are in terms of like religious belief, it's so important to know that you are here for a purpose. I know I'm here
Yes.
for a purpose, and every single
Yes.
day I want to live my best life and live within that purpose and touch other people's lives positively. And that's why, I do this every Wednesday. We spend the time to plan for it during the weekends. And I do this because I am so sure that one person needed to hear this message today. One person could get helped, and that's all I'm here to do. I want to touch one life at a time. So thank you so much for your time tonight.
Can I say something,
Be
Gabrielle?
blessed and
I
have
want to say,
joy.
Gabrielle, can I say something real quick? And I
Correct.
said it on my YouTube channel. If someone is bullying you, it could be a coworker, it could be a family member, sibling, friend, whomever. If someone is bullying you, speak up. Speak up. Do not allow anyone to mistreat you. You deserve to be respected. You deserve to be loved. So start loving yourself first.
Thank you, ladies, again. Have a great night and
Thank you.
have joy. Joy matters.
It
Yes.
matters.